Hi, my name is Melissa. I'm a third-year law student. I'm a stepmom of two. I'm a gardener, and I'm also doing canning. Today, I'm going to pressure cook some pot roast. Right behind me is my pressure cooker. What is it? It's the All-American Model 910 pressure cooker. Right now I have all my ingredients out in front of me. I have celery, onions, garlic cloves, potatoes, pot roast, and some carrots. Okay, so I'm gonna adjust this. Let me see if you can see in this bowl. Okay, so first I'm gonna start out with 3 tablespoons of salt. Or teaspoons. And it doesn't matter if you get a little bit extra, because I figure I always end up adding some more salt and pepper anyway. Then we need 1.5 teaspoons of some black pepper. Usually when I cook, I do the fresh ground, but just for the sake of the video, I feel like it's a lot easier just to pour it. Okay, so now I'm gonna add some German thyme. This is fresh from our garden. We've started some herbs. Probably add in some pineapple sage later, just because I feel like sage is something that it just completely changes the dish. And this is some rosemary, fresh from our garden as well. These I don't measure. I just kind of used to just adding them. We also have some bay leaves too, but I'm gonna wait and add those until we actually start loading the jars. Okay, so I've already peeled the garlic. You just need 3 cloves. Usually I chop it, but I feel like this multi-zester tool, I feel like it brings out so much more of the flavor when you do it this way. So I have, my husband and I, we've had a garden. I think this summer will be, gosh, our 4th year. Our first year we just started it in pots on our back porch, and it's kind of come a long way since then. I think these are hard to get when it gets down to the bottom. You have to be so careful. So I have been canning with a water bath canner for probably 2.5 years now. I've just recently, in the past couple of weeks, started using a pressure canner. I was super nervous to use it at first, just because of all the pressure, and you hear all the horror stories. But I actually feel like it's been working really well. It's just so important that you read the instructions, and I've watched a ton of videos on it. I feel like this, just YouTubing something. I always try and find the videos from the older people that have been doing it for a while. Just gonna clean this out, try and get all the garlic that we can. I wish you could smell this. It smells so good. Okay. And now we need about 1.5 cups of carrots. And I've already gone ahead and just washed them and peeled them. I wish these were from our garden, just from the time of year. It's right after New Year's. So they're not really growing right now. But I have gone ahead and started some seedlings for some onions and some garlic. And I'm really excited because we've never done onions or garlic, but it's something that we use, gosh, constantly, probably every night for dinner. One thing I find really helpful when you're canning is to just keep the trash can right beside you, especially when you're trying to cut up all your ingredients. See if I cut enough. I always feel like I get my ingredients ready and then halfway through I always need something else. Okay. So let's see. Just about a cup. I usually try to do it a little bit over, just because my kids love carrots. I think one thing I really love about the pressure canner versus the water bath method is that you can can so much more stuff with it. You can, let's see, you can do meat, which is great, especially with, I think, just all the craziness that's been going on. And even just for being a law student and an intern, and it can be a lot, and having just the meals already prepared for when you come home, literally all you do is heat them up. This makes life so much easier. Especially if your family's anything like mine and they go from not being hungry to being completely hangry in 2 seconds. That's probably about another cup, but I think that's all right because we'll end up eating it. All right, now we need 1.5 cups of potatoes. I've already gone ahead and washed these and then peeled them, and I washed them again. I try to leave some of the skin on just because, I mean, it's pot roast, so you're not exactly going to see a little bit of the skin, and apparently it keeps some of the nutrients in it, so we'll see. It's not anything that I'm too picky about, just for this dish. And I think I'm also going to do probably a little bit more potatoes this time, because I made the same recipe last week and I just didn't feel like I had like enough just potatoes and carrots. So I'm going to put kind of like a heaping cup. And I'm probably going to do closer to 2 cups again. I'm not sure if I said that already. might even add some more later. Just, it depends on how the jars look. Because this is something where, this is another cup. I just kind of like to layer it. Like when you see all those, this is pictures of like the really pretty layered mason jars. I just think it's gorgeous. I love having them sit around my house. Okay. We need about 3/4 a cup of celery. This is also something I'm considering growing as well, just because it's one of the things that grow in cooler climates. Or not cooler climates, but when it's cooler outside. Let's see if we can get this back down again. Okay. Sorry, this is my first video, so I'm not really sure how to place my phone or what's the most convenient yet. I'm just kind of trying to cut these small, like 1/2-inch pieces, just because I don't like when I get a big bite of celery. But what's good about canning is that you can customize it for just what your family likes. Okay, so let's check that. Okay, so I'm going to do a few more pieces, just because that's a little low. And if your family's not really big on celery, this is always something that you could leave out. Okay, let's go ahead and put that to the side. Now you need 1.5 cups of onion. I do already have one partially cut from the other day, so I'm going to start with this one. And one thing I found really interesting lately is to start some onions, like a plant, from the scraps. It's really, really easy. I actually have probably about 4 or 5 going right now, and I'll show those to you in just a minute. And for when you do these onions, it's kind of personal preference for how you want them cut. Because I know some people like them long and then some people like them more chopped. I try and do them more chopped just because my kids don't like the longer cuts. Okay, let's see where we are. That's about a cup. I'll go ahead and do a little bit more. Okay, so when you want to cut an onion to grow it from the scraps, you'll see the very end here. This is the part that you want to keep versus this end. So you'll cut it just like this. And then I'll come back once we have everything in the pressure cooker, and I will show you where to go from there. Oh, these onions are already making me cry. Here. Sorry about all this adjusting. I'm just trying to learn how to keep my phone in focus. Oh gosh, this one is really pretty. Okay, so that's just about a cup. We'll go ahead and pour that in. Oh gosh. Okay, that's just about half. Okay, and I'll go ahead and show you. This is what we have so far. And I feel like the easiest way to just mix all the seasonings in with this is just to do it by hand. And just a helpful hint, I know it's really easy to like want to put butter into your vegetables already, but it's actually not safe to can butter. So just make sure to avoid that. And you can always leave a little label on the back to add some butter when you're cooking it or heating it back up. Okay, now I'm gonna go wash my hands. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and pause just so I can clear this up and get everything ready to start loading the jars. Okay, so I'm back, and right now I'm going to use some quart-sized jars just because I feel like it's the best portion for the family. You can use either one if it's just me and my husband, or two if the kids are here. It doesn't really matter if you use the regular mouth or the wide mouth. That's just what I have right now. Really, I want to use the wide mouth when I do pickles. Okay. I'll go ahead and start with these. And I'm going to go ahead and put this back down so you can see what I'm doing. Okay. So this is just a funnel. I find it easiest first to put in some of the pineapple sage. This is some of my favorites. It smells so good. I just wish we had some fresh and it wasn't so cold outside, so our plant would be going. And I just kind of try and dust the bottom because you can always add some more seasonings when you're heating it up again. This is just more to give it some base flavor. Okay. I'm not really sure how many jars I'm going to use just yet, so I'll start it with just these 3. Okay, so I already have my meat pre-cut. It's about 3 pounds of meat. I usually try and use really whatever is on sale at the grocery store at the time. Sometimes I do stewing beef. Sometimes I do sirloin. I don't always do an exact amount of meat to put in the jar. I just kind of want to think about, you know, portion-wise, how much you want for each one or for each meal. Okay. So I think I'll put a little more in some of these. And then I'm going to go ahead and start my 4th jar. so I'm probably going to have room to do just one more. And I don't think it really makes a difference if you buy the meat pre-cut or if you cut it yourself. Honestly, probably the best would be to do it yourself. That would be awesome if you had just your own meat. These I'm just going to add some to the top. It doesn't really matter if it's on the top or the bottom because it's all during the pressure canning process. It's all just gonna, it kind of bubbles and just cooks together. Okay. Get that out of the way. And now we're going to start adding everything from our bowl. Okay. So this is just what they look like now. They do have some labels. These jars have all already been sanitized. Usually if I'm doing, usually if this is my second batch, I would have heated the jars up first, but since this is a cold pack, you don't need to heat the jars up for this one. Okay, and since I can already see my bowl's getting a little bit low, and I still have 2 more, I'm probably just going to go ahead and add some more potatoes to it. Okay, so I've just added about another medium-sized potato to the bowl. I'm going to mix it around a little bit. Okay, and we're going to go ahead and load these last couple of jars. For the pressure canner I have, you can only put 4 jars at a time. But one thing I've really been looking at is a double decker where you put 4 down, you put another layer. What is that? It's just like a little top to put in between them. And then you put the second round of jars on top. So then you can do up to 8 quart size at a time. So for this recipe, you need about 1 inch of headspace. This line right here, that is the 1 inch line. So I usually try and, you want to keep in mind that we're going to put some broth in the top. So it will get up to that 1 inch without having to fill it up with all of the ingredients. Okay, so we're going to wash our hands again and then put the beef broth. Okay, here is my beef broth. I actually, I'm about to start making and canning my own, but just for right now, it's just convenient to have a little bit from the store. And we're just going to, oh, look at all these colors. It's so pretty. We're going to fill it up to try and get that 1 inch headspace. And it doesn't matter if it's just a little above or below. It's honestly probably better to have a little bit below because you want to allow some space for the food to rise and kind of cook in the pressure canner. Okay, 2 more. I only have a little bit left in this box, so I'm just going to try and use it up so I don't have to keep any space in the fridge. Okay, so what you want to do now is get a wet cloth and just wipe around the rims just to make sure everything's clean. Really, with this recipe, you don't have to worry too much about it if you use the funnel. Just because it doesn't get too messy. When you're doing stuff more like spaghetti sauce or diced tomatoes, that will definitely get you. You'll be cleaning your jars off so it don't get your pot all messy. Okay. So first thing with your pressure cooker, you want to go ahead and let's see, can't really see it, but fill it up about 2 to 3 inches of water, and then you want to add just a little bit, maybe like a teaspoon, tablespoon, maybe even a little bit more of vinegar. It just keeps the it keeps these from getting cloudy because we don't want that. Okay, then we have a bottom rack. You do not want to forget to put this in because your jars will probably crack. Okay, we're going to go ahead and insert that. Where is my towel? And then we're going to go ahead and just put 4 cans in, just because that's what will fit in my canner. And you don't have to make sure these lids are super tight. You really just want them finger tight. Okay. And because I don't want to do one at a time, I'm going to keep 2 out and I'll do these the next batch. Okay. This is one of the tricky parts. It's getting just trying to get this lid on correctly. And let me show you this. Okay, this one has all these twists on the outsides. And you want to do the ones across from each other. And as you're twisting them tighter, you want to do it so they look about even when you're watching them, right along here. Okay, so I'm going to get this going, and then I will show you once we start. Okay, so I've got the pressure cooker started and turned the heat on. And for this part, you're going to want to wait until it heats up, and you'll start hearing out of this little nozzle right here, you'll start hearing all the steam coming up, and once it's constant, you want to wait about 10 minutes, and then we're going to put this on. We're going to put 10 pounds of pressure, just because that's what it is for my altitude. You always want to check your altitude when pressure cooking, because if you live at a higher altitude, you might want to use the 15 pounds of pressure. But since we're in Georgia and we're relatively close to sea level, we want to do 10. Okay, so now, since we have that going, I'm going to show you how to do the onions from scratch. Okay, so here was the onion we got earlier. We want to go ahead and clean just this bottom layer off, just so it's clean. Then we're going to get a little Tupperware. Anything small will work. And a couple of toothpicks. And we want to break them in half. Just so we can get this to kind of stick up a little bit in the bottom of the Tupperware. It doesn't really have to be even. This one's going to be another one. We just want to set it in the bottom of the Tupperware like this. And then where you can see the line of just where the little bottom piece is, you want to fill it up until just so this part is underwater. And I actually have one going. I'll show you. This has been in a couple days. Can't really see it that well. But as you can see, it will start sprouting. This one is actually ready to plant. You just, this one I have, what is it? Just some little things of dirt going. You want to plant it just so all these are underground. And this can, the top part can show. You'll actually spritz that with water every couple of days. And you want to set it in a little tub. I use one of the little aluminum foil things you'll put on the grill. And just fill it with water so you can get water from underneath. But I also will try and water the top too, just to be sure. Okay, well, we'll be back once the pressure canner is ready to put the weight on it. Okay. Okay, so we're back. It has been steaming for 10 minutes. One of the easiest ways I found is just to get a paper towel. When it starts blowing it up like that, you know that you can set your 10-minute timer. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and put on the pressure weight. And for this, you wait until it starts jiggling. And after the first time it starts jiggling, you can set your timer for an hour and a half. Okay, and once that's ready, I probably won't show you. But once your timer goes off, you're just going to turn off the heat and wait for this little pressure gauge to get back down to 0. Then you take the weight off and wait a couple minutes, and then it's ready to take out. And once those are done, since these have been cold packed and now the water in there is going to be really hot, I'm going to put these in the sink in the hottest water that I can. Probably just up to the rim, just so they won't break when you put them in the hot water. And I'm probably also going to boil just a little bit of hot water, just to make sure I have the full 2 inches. Okay, so our processing time has completed, so we went ahead and turned the oven off. And now that we just waited for the pressure to get all the way down to 0, we can finally take the weight off. It'll be another minute or two before all the pressure's out. You can hear just all the steam still going. Okay, and while we're doing this, I went ahead and boiled some water so we can go ahead and do the next batch. And then we have the next batch just waiting in all the hot water. So we can go ahead and let that out. And as soon as you can hear all the pressure release from the pressure canner, we can go ahead and open. Okay, so here's our finished product. We're going to go ahead and pull them out. These are insanely hot. So now we have all of our cans out of the pressure canner and cooked, and we're gonna go ahead and pour a little bit more water in here. You wanna boil it first just so it's hot and won't crack the pot. And then we're gonna go ahead and set the jars that we've had sitting in the hot water, and we're gonna do those for an hour and a half too. And these are just some little labels I like to keep. I like to keep the date and what number the batch is, just so in case anytime a batch would go bad, you know all the cans that are in it. This is the batch that I went ahead and did the other day. You'll see it has like the little white ring at the top. It's just the fat. It'll separate. You can go ahead and take it off before you're ready to eat, unless you want that a little bit of extra flavor. When you do go to eat this, I haven't exactly tried putting the flour in it yet, but apparently if you put 2 tablespoons of flour per quart and whisk it, and then it's probably about like a 10-minute heat up. The potatoes and all the meat should be fully cooked, so it should be really quick. And I think that's it for this video. I think I'm going to do probably a haul video next week, and I have a lot of more exciting stuff coming up, definitely more canning. I'm going to be starting more seedlings soon for the garden, and we're probably going to do some remodels soon. Okay, bye.